Welcome back to this special Patreon first episode of Across the Bifrost. This is Dr. Norbert coming to you from the West End of London, actually further west than London even. And with me tonight is the Podfather himself, Patrick Dunford. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Norbert. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent.
Again.
Yes, it's great to have you back on the show. And we're having you on here for a very special reason in that we have just finished the May edition of the Mutant Weekender here in London. This one it was 64 tickets were sold, 62 people ended up playing. Over the course of 2 days, we did 4 rounds on the Saturday to get like a Swiss pairing and kind of put everybody in order. And then we broke everybody up into pods where they restarted basically and playing 3 different games on Sunday to see if they could win their pod. And spoiler alert, over the course of those 7 games, you went undefeated, which was an amazing achievement in of itself. And so you qualified for the top pod on Sunday. And because you went undefeated in that pod as well over the 3 games, you won the overall event. So you are Weapon M.
Yeah, very happy to be. As soon as I realized following Belgian Masters that winning an event would get me an invite back onto the podcast, I just had to keep on trying, you know?
That's amazing. Well done to you. I'm very pleased that you had a good time and you could come along and talk to us about it today. So I want to direct people to the fact that we've had another Patreon first episode in the not too distant past after the Belgian Masters, where you talked at length about your Apocalypse roster and your approach to playing Apocalypse. So we're not going to go into detail about your roster. Instead, we're going to talk about your games and in particular, try to understand your approach to setting up a game, depending on who your opponent is and what their teams are going to look like, and maybe some of the thought processes in terms of how you want to conduct that game. So it's a bit about how to play to win as opposed to talking about specifics about your roster. But having said that, had there been any changes since you discussed your APOC roster that you want to talk about for this event?
Yeah, so not a lot of changes. So I think your idea here was spot on. I was playing exactly the same characters. I might have changed some tactics cards, but honestly, all the important cards were the same.
Okay.
One thing I did change is I changed my crisis because, of course, Belgian Masters was at the same time as the new crises were released. So we were all trying lots of new crises. It was a brave new world, figuring out how effective are the new crises for Apocalypse. I think every crisis I had then is still good for Apocalypse, but I've tweaked 2, just a bit of optimization, you know? So I was previously playing 3 pay-to-flips. I was playing Guardians, Macron, and Mutant Madman. Mm-hmm. So Guardians and Macron are new. And I switched out now Macron for Infinity Formula. So I'm only playing 2 pay-to-flips. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is the more I play Apocalypse, firstly, it's a great team. And I think it's good into everyone. I don't think it has any really terrible matchups. Mm-hmm. But I think the matchups I prefer the least are the fightier ones. And Macron is quite a close box. And a lot of fighty teams are quite happy to play Macron. So I decided, okay, I'll dial that back. I'll keep the pay-to-flips that are more spread out. And I'll play Infinity Formula. And Infinity Formula is interesting to talk about because it's basically has the exact opposite philosophy to the pay-to-flips. So the reason, to remind people that maybe listen to the last podcast, the reason you like pay-to-flips with Apocalypse is all the power denial you have, right? So you're putting poison on people, root on people, and then they can't pay-to-flip stuff. Or the extra drain from the pay-to-flips plus root means they can't do other cool stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And Infinity Formula is the opposite. Infinity Formula gives you extra power. So when you're playing Infinity Formula, the poison and the root become less valuable. That's not to say you shouldn't use them, but they become relatively less valuable. However, what becomes more valuable is the slow effect that you can also apply with Pestilence and with Iceman. Because Infinity Formula points are very far apart, especially if you want to go from the left side of the board to the right side of the board.
Yeah.
And so you can really strand the opponent, right? What I like to do on Infinity Formula is I like to play Iceman plus a Pestilence and have one on each side of the table. So I can slow people on both sides of the table.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then whichever side, and then at some point in the game, I'll try to evacuate the token, the extracts from one side of the board and strand some of my opponent's models who are slowed. So that's kind of the Infinity Formula game plan. So a slightly different, like a tweak on how to play Apocalypse otherwise. But you could apply the exact same strategy on things like D map shapes, like Riot Spark as well.
Yeah, sure.
There's lots of good secures for Apocalypse.
Right.
And the bonus power from Infinity Formula is really good for just enabling your horsemen to do all their stuff. Because, of course, all their horse powers cost power. And so having extra power is really, really welcome with that team.
Yeah.
So the last thing I like about Infinity Formula is it's 17 threats. And I was telling you last time, Norbert, that lower threat, 17 threats is like the sweet spot for Apocalypse, 17 or 18. And so I was happy to take Throwaway Macram, which was 19 threat, to go to a 17 threat crisis.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you say there was a... Sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
I thought you said there was a second change.
Yeah, the other change was I swapped out scrolls for hammers. This is once again mainly a threat change. So scrolls was 20 threat, hammers is 18. And I wanted that 17 to 18 threat band. So now I have 2 17s and an 18 for secure and 2 17s and an 18 for extract. So extremely likely to play that threat band, which I think is the best band for Apocalypse.
Interesting. I haven't heard people talking about the threat values that terribly much in MCP as one of the reasons to choose a crisis. So this is interesting to hear that was a big driver for you in these two cases.
Yeah, I think it's because of the unique team structure for Apocalypse, where you have to take a 6 threat leader, and then you're heavily incentivized to take exactly 4 other models. And because of the horseman powers, right? Now, that's not to say that's the only way to do it, but I like to play 4 horsemen and nothing else, right? Which means you basically always play 5 models. And then, do you remember last time we were speaking, I mentioned that things, you can upgrade your models, right? So like Magik and Psylocke, it's like a Pokemon evolution. Like you have your 3 threat Magik upgrades to 4 threat Psylocke. You got your 3 threat Deadpool upgrades to 4 threat Wolverine or Sabretooth. You got your 3 threat Beast upgrades to a 4 threat Colossus, right? But the thing about that is fine as a way to spend your threats, but it's not really changing your team capabilities that much, right? The difference between Psylocke and Magik is not that big. So it's better, really. You have the same capabilities at the lower threat. So better to deny your opponent the ability to do more with that threat themselves. Yeah. Because they will probably do more with it than you will because of your team restrictions.
Yeah, exactly. I've been learning that. Like you kind of want to see the minimum amount of threat you can get away with. To not neuter what you want to do, but not, and therefore not give them more points to play with.
Yeah, exactly. So to put it another way, at 17 threat with Apocalypse, you have all your tools, you have your game plan, and the extra threat levels aren't really changing that. But your opponents might not have their perfect game plan or all their tools at 17 threat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Any other thoughts about the roster?
I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Should I maybe just do a quick recap of the roster so people don't have to pull it out and then we can move on to the games?
Yeah, and interesting. I like your thoughts because I think the Americans are less high on APOC these days for some reason, whereas he's marvelously popular and effective here in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fantastic. I'm a bit loath to decree that one thing is like the best. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's very subjective. But my subjective point of view right now is he is one of the very best things in the game. So yeah, I rate him very highly. So I'm stalling for time as I pull up my roster on long.
Oh, okay. I have it. If you got it, you got it, or should I?
No, go for it.
You want me to do it? Okay, cool. Here we go. It is Apocalypse, Beast, Colossus, Deadpool, the Blob, Toad, Psylocke, Magik, Wolverine 1, and Iceman. And the crises were Mutant Madmen, Guardians, Infinity Formula. Extracts were Scientific Samples, Unexpected Guests, and Fear Grips. The team tactics were Sacrifice, Brace for Impact, the first one, Recal, Survival, Immortal Servants, Warpath, Journey Through Limbo, Instant Recovery, and Fastball Special.
I love that fastball special.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you end up playing it at all?
Yep.
No.
We were just talking about threat value, so maybe to lead into the games, I should say, if I recall correctly, of the 7 games over the 2 days, I played 6 games at 17 threat and 1 game at 18 threat. So I only
You're
used a
absolutely
4 threat
correct.
character once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all about the 3s in that roster. You play Toad, you play Apocalypse, you play 3 3s at 17. And that's why the roster has 5 3s to choose from. So you can pick the best tools for the job.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if people want to start with day 1, on Longshanks, the event number is 22059. It's called the Mutant Weekender Extinction Agenda. And let me get up your information so we can go through the games. Here we go.
So I was playing against Dan Marshall from Hull, and he played Cyclops X-Men into me.
Interesting. Really interesting.
So,
did he have other leaders, for example, for X-Men?
No, it was all about Cyclops.
All right, so you knew it was Cyclops. So let me give people the stats and everything, and then you can tell us about what your impressions were. So Dan was playing X-Men, as you mentioned, Cyclops, as a matter of fact. You won priority. The crises were Hammers and Mcron. Threat was 18.
Yeah. So fine for both of us. We both had Hammers in our roster. As I mentioned before, I was previously playing Mcron. So we're both happy with the crisis. I'm glad that he picked 18 over 19 threat, but it's not that big a deal. Right. Whatever. My team.
Sorry, so you have priority, so you chose your extracts?
I chose my extracts.
Because although you got a secure you like, the other ones, his other extracts were not ones that you wanted.
Yeah, I think I don't remember exactly because it was the first game of the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
But I definitely felt in this case the extracts were going to work out better for me. I think his secures were very similar to mine because he was also playing a bunch of pay to flips. Right, he's X-Men, he's playing first class. I have Guardians. We both have Guardians. We both have Mutant Madmen. He's got Macron. I used to play Macron. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my extracts are more different.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but it's a good crisis combo for both of us. And it's a fighty combo, right? Because you've got the extra hammers doing extra damage, and you've got Macron being quite a close box. Not pure fighting, but fighty enough.
Yep. Well, these days, as close as you're going to get, right? Because E's are out of the picture.
Yeah, exactly. So my team was Apocalypse, and I can't guarantee I'm going to remember my team for every game, but I remember for this one, it was Apocalypse, Toad, Beast, Deadpool, and Psylocke.
So what were you worried about, though? So here you are, you saw his team, and what were you thinking?
So honestly, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to have a team of decent mid-range fighting models who are going to try and attack me, right? And then I have to, normally, when I'm expecting a team to be aggressive, I will go for very tough models like Blob. But I thought, on balance, Blob is not as tough as I would like into a team of X-Men that have a lot of energy attacks, right? He had Bishop in his roster, Psylocke, of course Cyclops, and Blob is only 2 energy defense. And I thought, look, I'm going to take Psylocke as my upgrade model. I think the stealth is going to be relevant. I think the blank defense dice with the martial artist is going to be relevant. I really like Deadpool on hammers because his attacks have triggers for extra attacks. So the hammer does double duty. It makes it more likely to get the trigger, and it makes the trigger more impactful. And I really like Deadpool on hammers because he can just use bang all the time, right? Range 4 attack with a rapid fire trigger. Fantastic with a hammer, but also lets you keep the hammer safe. Whereas if you give a hammer to someone like Magik, she needs to get within range 2 to be really effective, and she's squishy, and then she gives the hammer away, right? So I prefer Deadpool on hammers to Magik.
Were you not thinking then, because it's Cyclops, that he wasn't going for a early extract play like X-Men Storm tends to do?
Well, I was expecting quite a mid-rangey game because it's like a symmetrical set of crisis, right? It's 4 extracts, 4 secures, really safe to get your home ones, really dangerous to get the enemy ones. And the extracts on the table was basically the hammers on the left and right were on really large pieces of terrain. So it was relatively safe to grab them and not be attacked too much. So I was expecting it to be like a 4-4 start and then figuring out how to get ahead, which would probably come down to dazing key models.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. His team, by the way, was really cool. And I want to call this out because I think there's not that much love for Cyclops. Firstly, let me tell you, Cyclops on hammers and Macron seems fantastic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the leadership was excellent because on Macron, he could really position his models so they were all relevant, but also all within range 5 of each other to move the power exactly where he wanted. And Cyclops' leadership, giving power to the team, is really good against Apocalypse's power denial plan. There were several times in the game where I would, because often what you want to do with Pestilence is you want to root models early in the round before they activate, right? And I was often caught in this catch-22 where I was like, I want to have Beast activate, root a bunch of models, throw them and run away. And I did that. And then Dan's like, cool, I activate a different model. I shoot you. Now I give power to the guy you've rooted. Now he can do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Cyclops' leadership seemed very, very good into Apocalypse. His team was Cyclops, Bishop, Psylocke, Kitty Pryde, and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, okay. Not the most common X-Men, like not traditional X-Men characters, to be honest.
No, but all X-Men characters that can hit reasonably hard and can use the power really well.
Uh-huh. Got it. Okay, so is target priority then become your major concern?
Yeah, I think basically the way this game played out, there were a couple of key things that I think really worked in my favor. The first was Apocalypse going late in the round and preying on Psylocke, who picked up a hammer on the midline. And even though she was behind a size 5 Weapon X bunker, Apocalypse was able to advance and place on top of the bunker and still attack her. And I got an enormous damage spike where he had to use Xavier's Dream on round 1 to stop her getting one shot and giving up the hammer to Apocalypse. So that was a really bad setback for him. And then she was on the back foot. So Dan could have avoided that mistake in hindsight by using, to me, my X-Men to pull Psylocke to safety. I think he was lured into a false sense of security by the enormous size 5 terrain that she was hiding behind, underestimating Apocalypse's reach and ability to place on that terrain. So that gave me a bit of an advantage. But really, this was just a blow-by-blow fight where all our models were in range of each other and we're just hitting back and forth. And Dan has good power economy and is doing good damage, but I was doing more damage than him because of my horsepowers, right? Toad was a 2-threat who was still able to contribute. Deadpool with War was doing a fantastic job. Psylocke was holding her own. And of course, my rerolls for my leadership just meant that I was kind of grinding a bit ahead of him and just staying slightly behind. And one thing that was happening was he was targeting my lower threat models. And Apocalypse, meanwhile, was systematically chasing after his models with hammers, killing them, picking up a hammer, killing them, picking up a hammer.
Oh dear. Okay.
And he started the game with a hammer because he deployed in the center of the table and picked one up straight away.
Right.
So by the end, Apocalypse basically was just snowballing. And like every round, he would have one more hammer and kill another model. And by the end of the game, he had all 4 hammers and was just one-shotting models with every attack.
Yeah. Okay. I should say Dan did a credible job because the score was 19-12 to you. So he was keeping up on points regardless.
Yeah, despite that difficult situation.
Yeah.
And had he been able to kill Apocalypse, he would have been able to flip the game. So he wasn't in an unwinnable position by any means.
I think he was doing the right thing. As my understanding is you need to control APOC and go after the horsemen playing against him.
Yeah, I think it depends on who your team is, but that you're not wrong. That can definitely be the right way to go.
Okay, but he didn't have any way to control APOC, did he?
No. Well, he had like a throw on Bishop, size 4 throw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Bishop has one. Yeah.
But a lot of his characters were more about doing damage, Yeah. Kitty Pryde, Cyclops. Maybe some of Cyclops' triggers can move Apocalypse, I'm not sure. But yeah, not that much.
Nice. Dan, a big shout out to Dan coming all the way down from Hull. He was there at the January event as well, and he's always has a good time, and I love seeing him having a good time.
Yeah, it's great. All the way from the north.
Yeah. All right, round 2. This time you were playing against my teammate from Cambridge, David Miller. He was playing Web Warriors, and he had Miles Morales. The crises were Unexpected Guests and Extremis, and the threat here was 17.
Yes, I think this is a double 17 threat crisis, which, by the way, was a lot of the crises that I played this weekend. So 17 threat crises are really popular right now. I think not because of the threat level, but because they're just a lot of really popular crises. So you see them a lot. Was that your experience too?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, this I've started noticing over the last 2 tournaments that there's not all the time, but more often than in the old days, where there's no choice in threat level. It's just there's just a number on the table.
Yeah, a lot of my games were like that for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to David. He obviously he lost this game, as we know. I went undefeated, but he made it into the top pod regardless, and he and I ended up meeting on day 2 as well. So I played against David twice in the event.
Cool. Now he won priority. So what did he pick?
So this is where I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
And the reason it blurs for me is I played against Web Warriors 3 times in the 2 days, back to back in game 2 and 3 today, and then twice against David. So I can't remember exactly which teams were which, but he was playing, I think, the classic Webs 6 wide at 17, playing the 4 omnipresent Web Warriors, right? Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spectacular Spider-Man Peter Parker, Ghost Spider, Black Cat. And then rounding that out with Toad and with Lizard. A classic team. One I played myself a lot. I think it's great.
Okay, so that's my point, though, is that because Web Warriors does have a good roster, but rather I don't know what it is. It's not a lot of flexibility to it. Is that what you had in mind? Then you're like, oh, I know very likely what this is going to look like.
Yes, and it's a bit interesting, actually, I think, because Web Warriors are one of those teams that kind of follows a set template and doesn't vary very much, right? As you said. And Apocalypse is another one of those teams that doesn't really want to vary its game plan. And Apocalypse's core game plan with his core models match up incredibly favorably into Web Warriors' core game plan with their core models. And what that means is I think this is one of the hardest and most imbalanced matchups in the game, where I think given equal player skill, Apocalypse will win the vast majority of times. Because his game plan just works so well into Webs. It's basically the combination of being able to slow them, being able to drain and deny them power, and having tons of really mobile mystic damage dealers to just kill whoever you need to, whenever you need to. So you get Webs in kind of all angles, right? They can't do what they want, they can't go where they want, and they can just die if they stay where they are.
I appreciate slow as a nuisance, but they have a lot of web swings and things. Doesn't that compensate?
Well, yes and no, because the thing is, you can pick the right tool for the right job, right? So like your War Magik with her incredible mystic attacks goes after Miles and kills him. Meanwhile, Pestilence slows Black Cat, who tends not to be web swinging nearly as much and not as far.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you pick, and because your team is very mobile, you really can just decide, like, pick those tools and line up favorable options often.
Okay. So what your game plan was to try to spread the conditions as much as possible?
Yes, spread the conditions, murder the spider people. Like mystic attackers kill people with spider sense. Everyone else gets conditions on them. And this was basically a situation where I was playing David's secure extremist consoles better than he was. Yeah. Right? Because I was like, so for example, on the left side of the table, he's got 2 models lined up to go and fight over the left-hand side of the table. Iceman double moves up there first. And then both of his models, if they want to go and win the secure, get slowed. And then you're committing 2 models to doing very little just to get that 1 point, right? It's very unappealing. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the table, there's 2 models on that side, and in comes Beast, able to put on slows, roots, and poisons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a really difficult game. And Webs don't really have the damage to activate with priority and punish you for any of those aggressive, like, in-your-face plays.
Did he do all webbed up at all?
I think in this game he didn't. I think in our second game he did.
Yeah.
But he was in a slightly awkward situation where he could never quite get like a great all webbed up. And he held it, if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, but I think he held it for a time that never came, where he never really just had a good opportunity.
Good share, yeah. So he lost this one 20-7, so quite handily. Any highlights at all, or is that basically it?
It's just, as I said, right, it's very much just doing all kinds of layers of terrible things to Webs, where you're simultaneously crippling their models and also murdering them one at a time.
Yeah.
So the Webs player is losing activations, and the activations they do have are just not very effective.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Moving on to round 3. We just had lunch, and you're playing now. Oh, this is one of the Belgians from the French-speaking part of Belgium that came, Kubu87. Very nice guy. I met him and his girlfriend who was doing touristy stuff in London at the same time as they came to the event, which is so cool. He was playing Web Warriors, also Miles Morales, and it was Mutant Extremists and Infinity Formula at 17 threat. You won priority this time.
Yes, and yeah, it was really cool to meet Kubo. Thank you so much, Kubo, for coming all the way from Belgium. Yeah. So, like I said, this is back-to-back Webs Warriors games. So, in the previous game against David... Sorry, did you say I won priority this time?
I think that's what the little star means, right?
Yes, no, you're right. Sorry, you're completely right. So, in the previous game, David won priority and picked his secures.
Yeah.
And I was thinking... I kind of am happy either way because, and as I said, the way the game played out, I feel like the Apocalypse team was able to outplay the Webs team on their own secures. This time around, it was a very similar setup for Kubo, playing very similar crises. And I looked at it and I thought, actually, I think I could go either way. I think I'd be happy with his secures and my extracts, or vice versa. But 2 of his extracts were 5 points. I think it was Spider, Infected, and maybe Cubes, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And I thought, given that I'd be happy with either combo, because I've got priority, I'll pick his extracts because there's a 2/3 chance there's an uneven number on the table and I can get ahead early. You know, I can have Toad steal the middle one. I can go 3-2 up on extracts and be even more ahead.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, that didn't quite work out because we got Mutant Extremists, right, which is 6 in the middle. But that was also really good for me. And this was another time where I feel like Apocalypse outplayed Web Warriors at their own game. Where at the end of round 1, I had 4 of the extremists and he only had 2.
Oh, okay, right. But let's go back to that because we're talking about approaches to the game. So in this case, and it didn't work out, but what you were thinking was there could be a center I have priority. There's a center extract. I have a good way of getting the center extract. I want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. And I often think about this with secures and extracts. I think about if I take an odd numbered extract, if my opponent has priority, how much is that going to punish me?
Mm-hmm.
If they get the secure they want and they can take advantage to be ahead of the extracts. Because that seems to me to be a nightmare. And it's why my Apocalypse team, for example, all the extracts are even numbers. Because I'm a pay-to-flip team. I would like to play my secures. My opponents basically never want to play my secures. They always pick my extracts if they have priority. So I don't want to give them an odd number. Even if it's like 3 points, like a deadly legacy virus.
I agree.
It doesn't matter. I just don't want to give them an odd number. And I
was playing Asgard, and the guys coming home from France were talking to me about this, and I did swap out all my odds, or at least one odd, into an even for that reason, so that I can always stay on parity, even though there's more points on the board. I'm at parity rather than having them scoring one more than me.
Exactly. I think you can make a case for having odd numbered extracts. I think the arguments are either you just want as few on the table as possible, so you accept 3, and you think that's going to help you in the long run by keeping the scoring down, or you have a 5 extract and you want to pick extracts when you win priority, right? This is something that Inhumans are doing a lot right now.
Yes.
Like, if you don't care as much about the secures, like Inhumans are a team where their secures, they don't have a great secure game on any map, but they have incredible extract game. So play 5 extract points, and whenever you win priority, pick extracts. And even if you don't have priority, you can maybe still play to parity or get ahead because of all of the options you have on round 1. And I think those are the 2 cases where it's valid to pick odd extracts, but I think you need to go in with your eyes open. And I think if you don't have a specific plan, you should probably be picking an even number.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we had this in mind then. You went ahead and so you picked your secures, let him take the extracts. Unfortunately, it came up with 6, but you were able to take 4 of the 6.
Yeah, and I should note that actually I got the worst possible result of these, although it was still fine, in that I wanted a pay to flip and I got my Infinity Formula, which is a fine secure for Webs. And I wanted a 5 extract and we got Mutant Extremists.
Okay.
So it didn't work out. Like, it was the worst possible result. But once again, the matchup, as I said before against David, the matchup is so favored for me that even with this worst crisis combo, my team is still better than the Web Warriors team on this combo.
Yeah. Was it the same situation? Do you recall his team that he chose?
I don't. I'm so sorry. I don't, because of the back-to-back nature. But it was a very similar archetype, right? It's very much lots of 3 threats, no notable splashes. There might have been a Baron Zemo in there instead of a Lizard. Do you know what I mean? But it's very much a similar wide archetype.
Can you think of anything Web Warriors in general could do to maximize their chances?
So I think it's really hard. I think basically the problem is, like I said, your core Web Warriors are so fundamental to your plan, and they have these weaknesses that Apocalypse accidentally targets perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't think you can turn it into a good matchup. What you can perhaps do is take in your splash pieces specific models that you think might help. Oh, that's what happened. That's what Kubo did. I remember now.
Okay.
You know when I said he didn't have an impactful splash? I'm wrong. This was 17 threats. He played the 4 classic webs, Miles, Spectacular, Black Cat, Ghost Spider, and then he played Mighty Thor, Jane Foster.
Whoa, okay.
And he was doing what I just said, which is, very clearly, he took a model that's good into Apocalypse. A model with powerful throws who can also throw Apocalypse on hits and can really threaten to do massive damage to him, so I have to play scared of that model.
Right.
And he's on a secure Infinity formula that can power her up. So I think this was a really good pick.
And what happened?
Unfortunately, I'll tell you what happened. Classic Asgard problems.
Yeah.
The first attack. So he
did it whiff?
He pulled Apocalypse forward with Ghost Spider in round 1.
Oh, nasty.
And because I had priority, he had last activation with Jane. So she was able to advance and attack Apocalypse.
Right.
And she did no damage.
Yeah.
Classic problem, right?
Yeah.
Classic Asgard problem.
Because she wouldn't have been able to charge because she can't get that third power, and so there's no rerolls.
And then I've got priority, and I'm playing this mini game of how can I make it so her activations suck. So what do I do first is I slow her and throw her away with Beast. So now the best she can do is... Is that what I do? Maybe I do something slightly different. I spend all game putting root, poison, slow on her and throwing her multiple times, basically.
Sure.
And she gets a couple of attacks on Apocalypse, but nothing really impressive.
Yeah.
And she does not pull her weight as a 5 threat because I'm basically putting... Once again, do you remember you said this is Infinity formula? I don't try and power deny anyone else. I put all of my control onto this 5 threat that's threatening me, and then I just have my models murder everything else. Right? And that works well in the Crisis. So his model is controlled, his assassin is controlled, whereas my assassins are beating up all his web warriors.
Yeah, got it. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Move on to round 4. This is
a juicy game.
Juicy game. So this is against the great Connor Rooney, who was dabbling with Wakanda this time, so not Web Warriors, which I'm sure you're relieved with. But actually, maybe not. Maybe you were clubbing seals all along with these spider people. It would have been nice to have a third spider person.
No, absolutely, you're right. I would have been much more comfortable into webs. I think Wakanda is one of the hardest matchups for Apocalypse, and obviously Connor is a great player, my beloved WTC captain from last year and for this year. So I was really sweating this game.
Yeah. So he's been talking about this a lot and working it out. So he had a plan. So he played M'Baku. The crises were unexpected guests and deadline to destruction. Threat level was 17. And he won priority as well. So he had the advantage.
Yeah. So he won priority. He picked his secures, got deadline. Deadline is a 16 threat crisis. So of course I picked the threat level of unexpected guests so that I could play 5 wide. Because at 16 threat, you can't get all the horsemen in.
Got it. And he had King T, M'Baku, Okoye, I guess?
Yes, exactly, as his core. And that is 11 threats. And then he added 2-3 threats. And he thought about this for a long time. He was not thrilled with his team composition. Like a really long time. And in the end, his team on paper, I think, is great. And I told him, I don't know why you spent 10 minutes thinking about this. I think your team is good. But the way the game played out, it wasn't that good. So I think he was right to be unhappy about it.
All right, stop bearing the lead. Who were the 2 threes?
Yeah, it was Luke Cage with Heroes for Hire and Baron Zemo.
Zemo
Great
1.
models, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zemo 1.
Yeah, because, let's help everybody understand. Wakanda is all about a bit of control, but a lot of murder.
Yeah, and especially the new version of Wakanda, M'Baku and King T are just incredibly efficient murder machines.
Yeah.
And then Okoye protects them. And Zemo and Luke Cage are continuing this theme, adding a third murder machine and a second protector. So that your team is very much like this synergistic team of models that could do the killing and models that keep them alive while they do it.
Yeah.
Trying to play a very hard attrition game.
Yeah. I think the States are sleeping on Wakanda, actually. And it's
great.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. It's really good in the current meta game because the Wakandans are really good into big... they're really good at picking on small models and killing them, King T, but they also are good into the current big kaiju. Right, because M'Baku and King T both have size 4 throws on their spenders. They're really good into hulks, and they can dish out huge amounts of damage in a single activation because of Wakanda Forever.
Can King T, his pull, on his attack, does it pull any size?
There was a time when I knew the answer to that, but I don't remember anymore.
All right, I'll look it up in the meantime.
I played King T when he first came out in Belgian Masters 18
I remember, 2 years ago, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it for the States is maybe that it's the character's locked behind a expensive terrain piece box.
Yeah, not that popular.
So let's see, is it Vibranian Spear that pulls people?
Mm-hmm.
If the target size 3 or less for the push on that on that attack. Okay, so still
you're
good,
usually
but
just looking for the rerolls, right? You want to get in range 2 and do a ridiculous 8 dice reroll to attack after you've leapt him.
Okay, so here you are. So you've kind of been listening to Connor going on about this. You know that they have a control, they have protection, they have quite a bit of murder potential. How are you thinking of putting your team together, and what was the game plan because of that?
It's worth noting as well, right, that I know how they work. I've played this team. I'm a former king of Wakanda on one tank, so I'm familiar with their strengths and weaknesses. And I know, for example, that Okoye is incredibly vulnerable to being poisoned in Apocalypse, where she then basically has an incredibly hard time ever generating power. And this is important because Wakanda takes Spirit of Wakanda, their tactics card, where a model plays 2 power and can remove conditions from every other model within range 2 of them. So if you poison Okoye, she can't play that card. And your other models don't want to be playing that card because they want to remove conditions from themselves. So I know that's like a weakness you can exploit. Right? Similarly, I know that I don't want to be making unnecessary attacks in round 1 because I don't want to be powering up King T so that because he gets extra power every time his friends are damaged. You don't want to give him enough power that he can jump in round 1 as a last activation and then murder one of your people. Right? So I'm deliberately not attacking in round 1. I also know, for example, M'Baku has incredible damage output if he can make 2 attack actions, but he's got no action economy and range 3 attack. So if you just stay outside of range 3, his activations aren't that impressive. So I'm deliberately playing to the weaknesses of these models and not falling into their traps, right? Where one of the dangers of Wakanda is if you overextend into them, they just annihilate you because they get to do these really efficient activations and they get to protect their key models as they do so that you can't just dive them and kill the ones you want, right? You dive in, you get bodyguarded or heroes for hired, and then the efficient models kill you. So I'm playing around that the whole time.
Let me extrapolate for the audience a bit about what you said about not attacking, because it happened to me more than once over the course of the weekend where I sat there saying, I'm not attacking these people, even though I could have, because I would have done 1 or 2 points of damage, but it would have given them enough power to do fun stuff after that, which I did not. I didn't want to be part of that fun.
Exactly. The power you give them hurts you more than the damage that you've done hurts them.
Yeah. So something to think about. And, doing nothing with your second action is sometimes okay.
Doesn't feel good, but sometimes it's the best thing to do in a bad situation.
Yeah. Okay. So that was so you had this in mind, and I'm curious now. So what do you do then round 1 if you're not trying to attack? Is it just throwing people off points or like?
Yeah. It's very much positioning to be safe and relevant and score points and playing cagey. I would describe it as cagey. I should mention my team. So 17 threats. I had Beast as Pestilence, fantastic as always. I think I played Beast in every game. Played Toad in every game as Death alongside Apocalypse. And then for the other 2-3 threats, I picked Deadpool and I picked Blob. And for me, Deadpool and Magik are the default choices. If I don't need anything else, they're the ones that come in. And Blob and Iceman are the specialists. Iceman is great against web warriors. He's great on wide secures where the slow is more relevant. Blob is great when people are going to murder you. And he matches up really well into the core Wakandans because King T and M'Baku both have pushes on their builder and throws on their spender. And Blob can't be pushed or thrown by attacks. So he is really good into the exact models I know that Connor is going to take. And then what Blob can do is he can bounce them off and push them away.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard, not impossible, it makes it harder and more awkward for them to have efficient activations. And like I said, that's the whole thing, is if you can control the Wakandans and stop them maximizing their damage, you're in a much better spot.
Right. Okay, cool. Now you won this game 18-10. So it seems a little lopsided. Was that how it went down?
So basically, we played a really cagey round one that was very even. Might have been 4-4. And I think even the second round might have been 4-4 and gone to 8-8.
Okay.
But what was happening was I feel like I was exploiting the weaknesses in Connor's list and he wasn't able to do much about it. So, for example, on my right side of the table on that deadline, he ended up at the end of round one with Okoye and Zemo. And I was able to have Beast go up next to them and poison them both. So I already mentioned poisoning Okoye is good. Obviously, poisoning Zemo also really relevant because it means he's not going to charge next turn. And then he wasn't incentivized to activate either of those models first because they don't have enough power to do anything good. And neither of them is really going to kill a beast on their own. And so before either of them activate later in round two, Beast slows them both and goes and does something else. And so Beast has an effective activation in round two, and both of those models do nothing in round two. They just double shake. And it was that kind of like efficiency that was pushing me further ahead in the game. The really key point, though, came when Connor, I'm sorry to say, Connor, hope you don't listen to this, he made a really critical mistake. And of course, he identified it was a mistake after the game. Everyone makes mistakes.
Sure.
But he overextended with King T.
Okay.
So he was lured. I had Deadpool on my back, deadline to destruction, holding an extract.
Okay.
And he could not resist that juicy, juicy bait of a 4 stamina model worth 2 victory points. And so he jumped in with King T in round 2 and killed Deadpool. Fine. Like it's a 4 victory point swing. Right?
He was able to pick up the extract?
He gets my secure. But he's done it as one of the first activations in round 2.
Okay.
Luke Cage is on the other side of the table. And as I mentioned, Okoye has been poisoned and can't bodyguard. So all his shields are down, right? He's activated his premium piece first, and there's no way over the round that he can bring defensive models in to protect it. And so I have the whole round to reposition my models to kill him. Right? So Beast throws in some damage after slowing Zemo and Okoye. Apocalypse teleports back and double attacks him. I have options with other models too, but that's enough, right? Because King T is not that tough.
Right.
So
No, he's not.
King T dazes, and that's bad, right? But the compounding problem with this mistake is because he killed Deadpool before he activated, I have priority. And so I activate with priority with Apocalypse and just KO King T.
Right.
And so in round 3, he's lost his 5 threat, build around piece.
Yes.
And after that, the combination of that model dying and his other models being controlled meant he just slipped further and further behind in the game. He was fighting a losing battle from that point.
I find King T's thing is that he wants to use his pull to bring people to him rather than him going out to, he'll pounce, get into range to attack, pull that target in, and then try to finish it off. But then he'll be still close to his support stuff.
He needs to hit and run a lot of the time, you're right. And it's really tempting to double attack, but it can just not be worth it. And actually, Connor was kicking himself because in this particular situation, Deadpool only has 4 stamina. He killed him with the first attack, right? It's 8 dice, we roll 2. And then he sat on the point just to get points. And I think he was thinking, well, I'll just move in my bodyguards later, not fully factoring that they would be slowed and incompetent, and unable to assist.
The conditions again.
So he left King T blowing in the wind, whereas in hindsight, he could have killed Deadpool, picked up the extract, and ran back towards his whole team.
So I've been finding with Apocalypse, the conditions are just such a nuisance. which I think is, of course, their thing, partly.
That's the gimmick.
Yeah. Because I play Thor 1 into them with the idea that to remove things, but his leadership is not generous enough I feel like, to mitigate all the conditions.
Norbert, I'm so glad you say that, because over the course of this weekend, I had like 8 people tell me they play Thor 1 into Apocalypse. And I didn't have the heart to say to any of them, I think that's a terrible plan. Because I'll tell you what happens is Apocalypse puts poison on them first.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of round 1. And you almost always have the last activation into Asgard because they almost always have fewer models than you.
Yep.
So Beast goes up, tries to poison as many models as possible, probably average 2.
Yep.
And then, because they've had their power drained, spending further power to remove the poison is really unappealing. But then, very shortly after that, Apocalypse, Beast, Iceman, whoever, put out more conditions.
Yes.
And then it only gets worse from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what happens for me is
poison
that
basically ruins the plan.
Yeah. Poison's the start. But then I basically wait until either Root or Stagger gets put onto my characters. And so, okay, I can remove those, but then I have 2 other conditions on me that I got to contend with, which is not as devastating, but still pretty bad. Or because of the poor, unfortunate wording of the Thor leadership, I don't even get a chance to remove them because I've already used them once. You only get to use the leadership once per round, and you have to do it at the very beginning of the activation. So you don't have a lot of choice. There's not a lot of flexibility in the matter. And so a good Apocalypse player, I'd say even a mediocre Apocalypse player, can get around that leadership thing by timing when they put the conditions on, which is it doesn't work.
I agree. I think it works in ideal circumstances.
Sure.
But it is far from a silver bullet into Apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Cool. So that's day 1. I think you went home because you have a lovely wife and a young child, or did you stay for dinner?
No, that's exactly right. I had to make a move.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, you still got to play, so compromises being made. I think you came up a winner in the long run, anyway.
Yeah, no, I was very happy to be able to do something at home, right, rather than selfishly taking the 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
When there's a baby.
Okay, so you got moved into, as we said, we had 8 different pods for this day 2, and they were all in alphabetical order with fun names. Like mine, I was in the second one, which was called Assassin, which is kind of fun. The first one though was called Weapon M because that was part of we have a little comic book story that goes alongside these events, and so Weapon M figures big into it, and so the top pod was called Weapon M. So if you're looking for it, it is event 25892. On Longshanks.
Yeah, so this is basically the top 8, right? It's the top 8 players from day 1 in the pod.
Okay. First round, you get paired into one of the Irish that came over. Fantastic. Jason Jensen was playing Guardians of the Galaxy using Star-Lord, of course. The crises were Hammers and Guardians Save Empress. Threat level was 17, and Jason won priority.
Yeah. So firstly, shout out to Jason. He and I have known each other for 15 years at this point.
Yeah.
From the War Machine days. I think I encountered him in my very first War Machine tournament, which was a long, long time ago.
Because you used to live in Ireland, for people that don't know.
I used to live in Ireland. Yeah. I spent 7 years in Ireland. And so, I know Jason very well. And it was a thrill to finally get a chance to play him at MCP.
Yeah, shout out to him and Charlie Healy for coming over from Ireland. And causing a lot of FOMO in the Irish community, as it turned out, which is great.
And doing great, right? Charlie did well. Jason made it into the top 8. Yep. Kudos to both of them.
Yeah, Charlie was in the second group with me, and Jason was in the top group with you.
Yeah, so powerful superheroes in Ireland. So Jason won priority. We had similar crises. He picked his secures, but he had Guardian Save Empress, which I was really happy about because that crisis is much better for me than for him. I don't think it was the right choice for his roster. But flip side, I got Hammers.
Wait, are you saying it's not a good crisis for Guardians in general?
Yeah, I think a spread pay to flip is absolutely not what you want to be doing with Guardians, in my opinion.
Interesting.
I didn't ask Jason why he had it, so I can't speak for him, but I personally wouldn't have picked it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Hammers is a fantastic extract for Guardians, probably better for them than for me. So his secure was helping me, my extract was helping him.
Okay.
So this was a case where I'm playing my classic plan. I would think about bringing in Blob against a damage-dealing team, except the core Guardians have a lot of long-range energy attacks.
Yep.
Blob can't bounce you away at long range. Blob dies to energy, so he doesn't get to make the cut. So I just bring the classic team of Beast, Toad, Apocalypse, Deadpool, Magik.
Okay.
Yeah. He is playing a Guardians team that I love, that I played myself, which is classic Ghost Rider Guardians of the Galaxy. Not Cosmic Ghost Rider, OG Ghost Rider. That model has great synergy in Guardians, I think.
Is he a Guardian, though?
He is not.
Yeah,
thematically, he is.
Yeah.
I used to, before Cosmic Ghost Rider came out, I used to joke he was Cosmic Ghost Rider, but I can't do that anymore. But yeah, he was playing Star-Lord, Rocket Groot, Ghost Rider, and Beta Ray Bill, which is an excellent team.
Let's stop there then. So I think you would have known that. I feel like that's a classic Guardians team.
He was playing a lot of similar splashes and full threats, so I didn't know it. I thought he was also dual affiliated. He also had Thralls of Dracula. So I didn't actually know what he was going to play, but I did know whatever it was going to be damage focused.
Okay. So, and energy and long range, because it's Guardians.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So how did that influence your thinking on turn 0?
Well, like I said, I didn't take Blob for that reason. Yep. I also didn't take Iceman. I thought, I'm going into a fight, I'll just take like my all-star team. And then I'll try and play it out knowing that probably I'm going to need to get ahead on the pay-to-flips here. And this is going to be a hard game.
Okay, and that's interesting, though. So because they're long-range attackers, the temptation is to stay back and fire to be safe. On the other hand, you get to pay to flip and then move off those points and charge in, get closer to them, essentially. And therefore leaving points behind that they're not picking up. Am I right about that?
Right. And really what I'm doing as well is I want to make sure against a long-range, high-damage team that I don't leave Apocalypse in a place where he can really concentrate his attacks on Apocalypse. Right? Because I still need Apocalypse to be a mobile assassin. I need him to go where he needs to be and kill the relevant models holding hammers, especially on hammers. Right? This is all by way of saying, like, I can't just... I want Apocalypse to be able to do what he wants, but I have to respect that if Apocalypse goes into the middle of the table, all the guns are going to turn on him, he's going to die. So he needs to play this cagey game of fighting relevant models, but being really cognizant of threat ranges and not overextending.
Okay, got it.
Now, in this game, I think this is a fairly hard matchup for Apocalypse. I think Guardians are good into them. There were a couple of things that really swung the game in big ways.
Can you quickly recap, though, what is it about Guardians that's so good into APOC?
It's just that they have a lot of long-range damage. So Apocalypse has to be cagey, but also all his minions are really scared.
Okay.
And I'm just worried about being blown off the table.
So nothing particular to APOC, it's just the general problem that you have
it's
playing
just general matchup, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have particularly good models into him,
Okay.
At higher threat, actually, this might be better for me because models like Colossus and Psylocke have tech into long-range attacks and energy and are just a bit tougher. But anyway, so first big thing is he sends in Beta Ray Bill to pick up a hammer on his right-hand side, middle of the table on the right-hand side, on top of a size 4 terrain piece. And that gives Magik a 4 dice energy attack into Bill, which does 2 damage, which is incredibly improbable. And then Beast is able to go up to Bill and root him, so that he then can't spend a power to reduce damage from Apocalypse's single Mystic attack, which kills Bill.
Yeah, sure.
So, and he made a mistake here we talked about after the game, which is he had priority. The first thing he did was he deployed Bill opposite that hammer and telegraphed to me. And he probably did it because he'd made up his mind. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I haven't thought about the rest of my deployment yet. I'll wait to see what Pat does. I'll just do the thing I know I'm going to do. But it meant I deployed Apocalypse, Magik, and Beast against Bill, which means 2 Mystic assassins against the guy who's weaker against Mystic, and the guy that can root the model with who has power economy issues and really good superpowers, right? Including pay 1 to reduce damage. So I put basically, I know you're going to send your model there to pick up an extract. I'm going to put all my models there to counter it. and then I'm going to eventually kill him and get ahead on extracts.
Right.
And that's my game plan. As soon as he does that deployment on turn 1, that's my plan.
Okay. That's so interesting, Pat, because I have learned from you as well about that. I have those plans in my mind, and I try to do everything else I can before putting that down.
Exactly. You don't want to telegraph what you're going to do. If you have a model, because Bill can basically go to either side of the table and pick up the hammer. And once again, they both have big bits of terrain that would have meant that model is reasonably safe. But by doing it first, I know I can counter deploy everything, right? I send Toad to pick up the hammer on the other side of the table, knowing he's not going to get it.
Yeah.
I put all my models to kill Bill. If he leaves that till last, I can't do that. And then I can't concentrate my damage. And you can try and steal from Toad.
I will mitigate my point by saying that sometimes I will hold back a character because I know the character is good into your character, and I'm waiting for yours to put down. On the other hand, and this is why the beauty of this game, on the other hand, I know you're not going to put that character down until very last because of that reason. So I end up then doing like plan B, which is to try to do the next best thing with those kind of characters.
Exactly. I completely agree. And there's two, you have to look at who's got priority, right? Who's going to have the last deployment? Yeah. Like you can only, like the best counter characters are if you're going to deploy last, and you can definitely counter.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope people have taken away from that a little bit of the tactical aspect of deployment, even though we've been a little kind of abstract about it.
Yeah. So that worked out great for me, right? Killing Bill early was huge, and I was able to convert that into a KO for Bill in round 2. Right? Because Apocalypse at that point had 2 hammers. He had the hammer he started the game with, he picked up when he activated in round 1, and the hammer he'd taken from Bill. He kills Bill. So end of the game. This is a game that ends with Apocalypse with 4 hammers again, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a good point, though, as well. So everybody knows that you should know that a large base model on a D can pick it up without moving. So, like, I don't know how you did it, but like, if I were the APOC player, I'd just go ahead and put APOC right down there because
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And
you don't
by
lose
the way,
anything.
Apocalypse likes to be in that position regardless of the extract, even if he can't pick anything up, because with a single move and a teleport and his range 3 attack from the center, he can basically reach anywhere on the table. So it's a nice deployment that doesn't telegraph anything, right? You go in the middle, and what you're saying is Apocalypse can go anywhere or do anything. Yeah, your deployment.
Yeah, you lose nothing.
Yeah.
You've telegraphed nothing. You've done the very obvious thing and also a powerful thing.
Yes, but without giving up any equity in deployment.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but extra bonus when he can pick up a hammer, right?
Yeah. I see. So you tend to put APOC down in the middle regardless of the hammer, or whether there's a D or not. Okay.
Almost always, I'll put him in the middle. It's very unusual. I'll have to have a specific plan in mind not to put him in the middle of the table.
Could you say it again? Sorry. So why is it okay for him to be in the middle all the time?
It's because with his base size and movement, with a single move and a place from famine, with his range 3 attack, he can threaten anywhere on the table.
Okay.
So by going in the middle...
you're only still getting 1 attack. You're
only getting 1 attack.
Yeah, okay.
But by going in the middle, you're saying wherever your models go, they're threatened by Apocalypse.
Yeah. Do you tend... Like, Thanos' shtick was always to go as last as possible.
I tend to do that with Apocalypse as well, especially in round 1. And then in round 2, it's a choice between how much do I need Apocalypse's damage early versus...
But why do you go late? Is it just to protect him so he doesn't get beat up too much?
Yeah, the main reason to go late is models like Magik and Deadpool with War do almost as much damage as Apocalypse, but are much more fragile. So you tend to want to use your fragile damage dealers before they can be dazed. And Apocalypse, being very tough, can afford to wait and do his damage later.
Yeah. So that doesn't matter too terribly much round 1. That sounds like a round 2 on kind
That
of
is a round 2 thing. So Apocalypse tends to want to go late round 1. The pressure you have with Apocalypse in round 1 is you also want to go late with Pestilence so that your opponent commits more models forwards and Pestilence can hit more models with the conditions. So often in round 1, Apocalypse will go second to last and fight something that's come forwards so that Pestilence can go last and hit more models with conditions.
Interesting. Okay. And I would say you'd go last round 1 just so that you know which direction to send them in to start doing havoc.
Yeah, and you can pick the most premium target.
Yeah.
Your opponent's moving all their models to be potential targets for you, and they're giving you more choices as the round goes on.
Got it. Cool. All right. Anything else after this, after murdering Bill? Anything worthwhile?
Yeah, so the
mentioning?
other really important thing to mention, and I just basically letting Jason off the hook because this isn't entirely factual, but his Ghost Rider rolled awful. And he's really relying on Ghost Rider to be his mobile assassin. And I want to emphasize, Ghost Rider made 3 penance stare attacks and did a total of 1 damage.
Oh dear. Okay,
onto Apocalypse, who then heals that damage.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. But I was very proud, though, of the fact that I played around this. I had 1 penance stare sacrificed into Magik. And of course, this is a great combo because Ghost Rider's penance stare is 5 dice damage plus 1 dice for every power the model has. So sacrifice gets him really big, right? Because he goes, cool, attacking your Apocalypse. And I go, great, sacrifice into Magik. She's now got no power. You only have 5 dice. And she's 4 dice Mystic and Wild's counters 2. Yeah. So and she's War, so you damage her a little bit and I get a token. Brilliant, right? So that was like counter 1.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was really proud of in terms of counterplay was I used Celestial Technology, which is Apocalypse's 4-cost superpower he uses in the power phase to teleport 2 of his friends. He brings them towards him. I used that every round of the game, not because I cared very much about the reposition, although it was useful, but just so Ghost Rider couldn't activate with priority and penance stare Apocalypse.
Right.
I just used it to dump Apocalypse's power in the power phase so that he wasn't a juicy target.
Oh, so he had no power. All right. So he could get Ghost Rider could get to APOC, but he wouldn't have any power.
But he's only doing like 5 or 6 dice. Yeah. So that worked. So those things combined with Ghost Rider rolling terrible dice meant that I was able to really out-attrition the Guardians team. Like killing Bill early, Ghost Rider not pulling his weight. That's 9th threat of his team, right? And although Rocket and Star-Lord were pretty good, they weren't good enough to carry the day on their own.
And you kind of clobbered him on this one. It was 22-10 in the end on this one.
Yeah, mainly due to the big attrition lead I had because of what I just said, yeah.
All right. Okay, so now we're into round 2 of 3, and you poor Dave Miller gets paired back into you with Web Warriors, Miles Morales. Now, I'll say that the score was way tighter this time. It was 19-14. The crises were Spider Infected and Infinity Formula, Threat 17, but you had priority, and I'm interested to hear why Spider Infected got chosen then.
So this is exactly what we were talking about before, which is I picked his extracts because he had 2 5-point extracts. So I have priority.
And
his extracts
and you have a center grab that you can rely on. Yeah.
And I decided I would rather do, and of course, I'm picking my secures. So in theory, I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm getting a pay to flip secure and I'm getting an early extract lead.
Yep.
In what actually happened is I got Infinity Formula again, which is not what you want against webs, but it was fine. Right. And I had the extract advantage thanks to Spider Infected.
So I'm very curious. Did he? I don't know if he changed. I doubt he. Knowing Dave,
he played exactly the same roster.
Get out of here!
The 4 webs, Lizard and Toad.
So what?
And I played the exact same roster: Magik, Iceman, Beast, Toad.
Did Apocalypse. He just have some rep into you, so he had a better chance, or dice were better this time? What happened?
So he definitely. I don't remember dice being a big factor in this game. There were certainly moments where they mattered. I think I might have, if I remember correctly, and like I said, all my webs games are blowing together, but there might have been a moment where Magik with 2 builders killed Miles, which is like a 50-50 chance or something, and that's one of those coin tosses that makes such a big difference.
Sure.
But they're pretty common in the webs matchup, right? A lot of the game into webs is taking coin tosses into their 3 threats and hoping to get what you need. But I think, to credit to David, I'd say this is about his learning and journey of discovery because he's very new to webs. And he was telling me in our first game that he's just learning them as an affiliation.
That's true.
So I think he was learning a lot every single game and leveling up his skills. And obviously he started at a high level because despite that, he made it into the top 8, right? But, the difference between game 2 and game 5, he came in much hotter in game 5.
Good for him. That's what we want to see. Lovely. But was it basically the same problem that you just were able to exploit on webs?
Yeah, very much.
What went better this time for him? Let's try to look at it this way.
So basically what happened in this game is we both, once again, deployment was a thing, right? We were both counter-deploying each other. But what happened is, from my perspective, on my side of the table, his left-hand side was Lizard and Black Cat. And of course, we're playing Infinity Formula, so it's quite common that you deploy models on the left and the right, to go down one lane, as it were, because the pieces are so spread between the left and the right side. So he's got Black Cat Lizard on the left side. He's got Miles, Ghost Spider, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Toad all on the right. And so I'm deploying a bit more centrally, once again, like Apocalypse is in the middle. And it means that I can pivot so that on my left to fight to fight Black Cat and Lizard, I only have Iceman. And his job is pick up a spider infected, go to my point, and later in the subsequent rounds, just slow those models and then eventually run away from them. And so that plan is I'm going to slow Black Cat and Lizard. They're not going to do much in the game. Meanwhile, his other juicy spider people, including the ones who are most vulnerable to my Mystic Assassins, right? Miles and Spectacular, my whole team is going after them, right? And so Magik, Beast, Death Toad, and Apocalypse are all just trying to kill those models. And so my control is really focused on two models that are isolated, and my damage is focused on the other ones.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
And that worked really well. So
what did he do better this time, or worked out better, let's say?
He played really tight, and he was able to give as good as he got. So on the left-hand side, Lizard and Black Cat were able to score some points ahead of Iceman, so that even though Iceman was tying them up, it wasn't a super favorable exchange for me. Like, he was getting value out of the fact he had two models to one.
Got it.
And on the right-hand side, even though I'm out-fighting him, he is still fighting hard and dazing models, right? And he is, with his Web Warriors, he is targeting Magik. Perfect target, right? Easy to kill, incredibly lethal. He's picking the right targets, and he had of course, in this like high damage situation on that flank, where damage is accelerated by Infinity Formula, and most of our models are clustered, he had a fantastic all webbed up.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Yeah, cool.
So that was also able to help him, and it was able to help him like really damage Toad instead of running away to daze Magik. And it forced Apocalypse to play a bit more cagey as well. And like not because he can't target all of those models, but I don't want him to all webbed up and then focus his attacks in several activations into Apocalypse.
And so he was using the all webbed up though to take out your horseman, not a APOC.
Yes, but he made me. But of course, I don't know that when he plays it. Right, he plays that, and then I'm scared with it.
Was he slowed? Was he able to slow you APOC with the all?
Yeah. He hit APOC, Toad, and Magik.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. So that's nervous. Makes you nervous. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. And then Magik activated, did an attack, and shook. And then the other models stayed slowed for basically the rest of the game.
Can I ask you, have you, over the 7 games, did APOC ever go on to his injured side?
Not that I recall. There might have been a game where he got flipped. He certainly never got KO'd.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the way it works.
Yeah, he's pretty hard to kill.
I play Asgard into him, and I can't take him down. I decided to go after his people instead.
It's like a multi-layered thing, right? Because there's the face value, he's quite a tough model, but that alone doesn't explain it, because he's not that tough, right? But then there's this there's all this meta stuff around him about why he helps to survive. Part of it is team tactics cards are basically entirely focused on his survival, right? Like Recalibration Matrix, Brace for Impact, Sacrifice, and Immortal Servants all just exist to keep Apocalypse alive as their first choice, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is his other models are often quite tempting targets. And, there's only so many attack actions you can make in the game. If you want to kill Magik, and you should, that attack isn't going into Apocalypse.
Right.
But then there's 2 other things which you never, like, if you play Apocalypse, you'll start to appreciate. So I just wanted to say it because it might not be obvious. And that is, 1, he is really mobile and does high damage. So his game is he moves to find an exposed model and kills it. And then he's safe because no one's nearby.
Yeah, right.
So his pattern kind of enhances survivability if, of course, you play him in that way. If you just throw him in, then he's much more exposed. And then the other meta layer is the hidden synergy with all of the conditions. right? Because if your opponent's models are poisoned, rooted, and slowed, then they're really bad at hunting down and killing Apocalypse.
100%.
Right? So it's all of these different layers. It's not his defensive stats. It's the fact that when you activate your damage dealer, you're like, oh, I would love to fight Apocalypse, but I'm just not going to be able to. Yeah.
Okay, so credit to Dave for pulling it together. He still ends up losing 1914.
Close game.
Cool. But the epic final, I think people are super thrilled about this game. I so wish this had been recorded or streamed.
It was amazing, this game.
This is the amazing Archie Cable, a good friend of mine. I was on his show talking about Asgard not too long ago. So listen to Cable's Conquests if you want to hear about how to play Asgard and other things that they do. Archie is a super nice guy. He ended up winning Best Painted Roster as well because he's incredible at his painting and display board type work that he's done. But I think the thing that people were, like the internet melted down because he was doing so well in this event and against you, a top level player, with Spider Foes. So he was playing Spider Foes with Doc Ock 2. Crises were Spider Infected and Guardian Save Empress. The threat was 17 and he won priority. So he had the choice.
Yeah, he won priority. He picked his extracts. So do you remember what I said about you should only have odd, high-scoring extracts if you plan to take them with priority? That's exactly what he did, right? He won priority. He picked his Spider-Infected, his extracts that included Spider-Infected. And he was perfectly happy to have my Pater Flips because he's a Doc Ock enjoyer. And with that leadership generating extra power, and with the scientific hubris from Doc Ock generating power when you roll crits, that team is pretty good on Pater Flips.
Okay, so what were you thinking then? Okay, so here you are, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, I know he's going to have a priority. He's going to be able to get the center item. He's going to be able to protect one of his secures with his trap thing. I forget what it's called. And as you said, he's got good power economy. So what were you thinking as you're putting your team together?
So firstly, I'm absolutely not underestimating Archie and his Spider Foes. Because I think some people don't consider Spider Foes to be that good. I think they're very good. Very good. I think Doc Ock's leadership is really good into Apocalypse. It drops some of the special conditions he puts out, right? It gets rid of slow. It gets rid of shock, which Apocalypse applies in his builder. And it generates extra power. So your game plan of putting out conditions and denying power is massively hampered by the leadership.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great, right? So I think the leadership is good. And like I said, Archie's a great player. Archie is the only person who has ever beaten me with my Apocalypse team. Did you know that?
No, when was that?
It was in the finals of Train Wars. So Archie and I have met in 3 finals. This was the most recent. Previous to that, it was Train Wars, where he beat me in a very close game with his Midnight Suns. And before that, it was a while ago. He was playing Spider Foes, I was playing Hellfire Club, and I narrowly beat him. So going into the game, we're 1-on-1 on finals, and he's the only person that's ever beaten my roster, and he's got a roster that I think is good into me. So I'm sweating, right? I'm not taking this game lightly.
Patrick, we've been talking about on the Discord. We're putting a vote into Longshanks. You know, you can use your requests feature in Longshanks. We're putting a vote in for a badge if you've beaten Pat Penford.
Well, he would definitely deserve it.
So I'm going to bury the lead straight away. The score was you won 17-16, and I also know that you said you were behind by 9 points at one point.
Yeah, so I think this is the interesting part of the game, and it's very much his tale of luck. But maybe to talk about the strategy bit first, and then I'll end with my amazing comeback.
Okay.
So my plan is, we're on Guardians, so it's relatively split and it's pay to flip. Obviously, if I attack his models, they generate extra power. But some of the models, like Lizard, for example, Toad, who he's playing, he was also playing Rhino, Doc Ock, and Electro. But Toad and Lizard don't do good damage, don't have good power generation. They're prime targets to be poison-rooted and maybe even slowed and just ignored, right? Meanwhile, I can then focus my damage on other models, especially Doc Ock, who's the leader and who's a bit fragile, maybe Electro, right? So that's my plan, is to, just like against Web Warriors, pick the right tools for the right job, neuter some characters, kill others.
Yeah, no, so that's interesting because Lizard, whilst good on normal secures, is not so great on pay to flips because you could pay to flip and then walk away from it or get pushed off of it and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and he's still fine on them, but I agree he's not as good. Now, of course, the difference here is Archie played around my plan really well. And so what does he do? Well, Toad and Lizard are the first models to pick up extracts, right? That's not a shock. But of course, this demonstrates that my plan is not that good because they're the models you always want to be picking up with extracts. Mm-hmm. And now I can't necessarily just poison them and ignore them, right? Because they're worth too many points.
Yeah.
And Lizard dives my own right-hand spider infected. So he's in my face, taunting me. And the best way I can counter that is with damage. And that means I'm not neutering. So my plan to neuter Lizard is eventually ruined by his first activation of turn 1.
How soon in round 1 did he do that dive?
Very soon. I think it was his first move or his second.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So why couldn't you take him down? I mean, I know Lizard's tanky, but still, if he's sitting there pretty...
So I definitely tried to take him down. I was incredibly... As we mentioned already, I had an incredible comeback late game, but my early game had disastrous dice. And so, for example, he deploys, he takes the spider infected, and Magik is like, okay, I'm going to make you regret this. Magik advances onto the Guardian point next to Lizard. She spends her 1 power and 1 token to use a Warrior of Legend attack with, Fury from War. And that attack, on average, does like 3 or 4 damage to Lizard. Mm-hmm. It has a 15% chance to do no damage, which it does. And maybe you could say I shouldn't have taken that risk. I think it was a risk.
I would have done that.
It is necessary to kill Lizard to not be down on VPs.
Yeah, and she's
doing
the
85% chance to start that train rather than the 15% chance.
And he's not on a secure, right? So like if it doesn't work, it's not like he's getting 2 points out of the thing.
Well, yeah, it's a pay to flip secure, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, he is on it, but it doesn't matter. It's pay to flip.
Right. Yeah.
But she does no damage, which means I've used a horseman token. I haven't got one back from War, and she's got no power, so she can't flip the point. Yeah. So it's a complete disaster.
Okay.
Apocalypse comes in and does like 1 damage to Lizard, but that has just given him 2 power because of Doc Ock's leadership. And it's like, well, Lizard is completely alive, and also now we'll go to 3 power and could do relevant things and also run away. So it's that kind of turn 1. The other side of the table doesn't go very well.
APOC gets to choose his damage type, so he probably took Mystic, which is not Lizard's favorite thing, and it still didn't matter. Okay.
It doesn't matter. So this illustrates how badly turn 1 went. Other parts of the table are a bit more even, but I'm really behind on turn 1. I think it's 5-3 at the end of turn 1.
Do you really think, though, I'm just thrilled about this. Do you really think Archie's use of Lizard was correct?
So let me tell you, I was thinking it was wrong, and then round 2 happened. And in round 2, he does something with Lizard, like throws one of my models away or something, makes an attack and runs back towards his team. Right?
Okay.
And I'm thinking, you just did 1 attack. You're not that far away. Magik can just teleport in and kill you. And I can fix this stupid being behind on extracts problem. And so Magik does that, right? She teleports in, redoes her Fury attack. This time does a big spike, then does a spender. And with both of them, she kills Lizard.
Okay.
And Lizard's very tough. But Magik's damage output is insane, and that's not that unlikely.
Right.
And I'm like, great. And then Archie plays his Spider Foes card. I can't remember what it's called. It's a very underused card. It's amazing. It is the Spider Foes card that is a combination of fallback and mission objective. A restricted card and a banned card, right? And what it does is you pay 4 power when you're targeted. You place... the objective that you're holding onto a friendly model within range 3, and then you move backwards. And so what he does is I kill Lizard, and he gives the extract to Doc Ock. And I've just spent my assassin, not getting me an extract. And overextending into Doc Ock, who can then beat up Magik.
Is it strategic retreat?
Yeah, that's probably it.
When an allied Spider Foes character is targeted by an attack, if it's holding 1 or more objective tokens, it may spend 4 power to play this card. Choose another allied character within 3 of the character that played the card move one objective token from the character that played the card to the chosen character. That character is now holding an objective token. This card does not allow a character. Okay. Then the character that played this card advances short away from the attacking character. Oh my God.
And let me tell you, so Archie explained this to me after the game. I was like, do you not think it was a bit risky to just dive me with Lizard? And he was like, no, not at all. Here's why. 4 power is really likely for Lizard to get before he dazes, because you get extra power from being attacked with Doc Ock. And with Lizard's 6 health and damage reduction, it takes multiple attacks to kill him. And then as soon as you daze him, he's going to play that card, give that extract that he's stolen from you back to Doc Ock in a safe spot on the other side of the table, and he's going to move backwards, so you're very unlikely to be able to KO him. And that's exactly what he did in round 2.
Wait.
So it makes the suicidal dive with Lizard incredibly reliable, because it means even if you do die, you're going to keep the extract, and Lizard is going to move to safety, so he's probably not going to get KO'd.
So, okay, because I'm reading the timing of this. It's when you get targeted, you have to play the card.
But because your leadership gives you extra power and you're attacked, and because Lizard is really tough, it's very likely that he will get to 4 power before the attack that dazes him targets him.
I see. So the first attack does enough damage so he could play the card and move away.
Yeah, especially in early rounds of the game. Like usually, most teams can only do like 5 dice builders in round 1. Right? So you do a 5 dice builder into Lizard, he takes 1 damage and gains 2 power with the leadership.
Yeah.
Your next model does it. Maybe he takes 2 damage, gains 3 power. Now this is online, right? And as soon as you threaten him with a big attack, he just escapes.
Holy moly. All right. So there
Incredible.
you are. So I'm guessing you overlooked this a bit.
Yeah, completely. So I fell into his traps. His well-laid plans.
So did you daze him or did you get...
So basically, the only thing that I achieved of note in round 2 was I dazed Lizard with magic.
Okay.
Apart from that, it was a total shit show. And like he just at this point, I think he had 4 of the 5 spider infected, thanks to stealing one of mine and then moving it back with Doc Ock and having priorities. We started with 3 anyway. And by the end of this round, I think he had 3 of the 4 guardians. And so it was something like he had 8 points to my 2 or something. Maybe not exactly, but it was something like we went up to like 13 to 5 or 12 to 5.
Am I right in thinking that the attrition also didn't work? It wasn't happening elsewhere?
It wasn't good. All I'd done was got Lizard. I did Lizard. I'd done nothing else.
And is that because of bad dice or just because bad positioning?
Yeah. My dice, with the exception of Magik killing Lizard, my dice that turn did absolutely nothing.
So 2 rounds of crap dice.
Double attacked Doc Ock and did no damage to the other attack. Yeah. Deadpool did nothing, and I think might have got dazed in the process. It was awful. No, he got dazed in round 3. But anyway, it was awful.
Okay. All right.
Toad might have got dazed.
Let's do a little interlude. Tilt factor. Is tilt happening? And how do you manage it?
So at this point, after round 1, I'm like, this is a really bad setback. I'm telling myself in my head, this has been a really bad round 1. But I'm in a position where I have models that can capitalize. I can try and get to parity and get ahead on attrition.
Yep.
End of round 2, I've done a little bit of attrition. I'm massively behind, and I'm thinking this is a disaster. It is going to be really hard to put it back from here. Then we have round 3.
Wait. But how do you control? I'm just help people play better. What do you do? How do you manage that emotionally?
Focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. You can't control what has happened. That's in the past. It's irrelevant. You look at what's ahead of you. What is your path forward? And the game, it's a problem-solving game, right? The game is, how do I solve the problem that is the board state? It doesn't matter if that puzzle is now really hard because you're unlucky. Try to solve the hard puzzle that you have. Okay. What combination of moves can you make to get yourself back into a winning position? And so it's not, so I don't think, oh, this sucks. What am I going to do? I think, oh, this is a really hard puzzle. How can I think to solve it?
Okay, cool. All right. So there you are, round 3.
Yeah. So round 3, and I'm sorry, I don't remember this round very well because all my memory is devoted to future rounds, but round 3 also does not go very well. One thing that goes really well is MVP Magik once again does a Fury Builder into Spender to kill Lizard.
Okay.
So she's done that too. So she completely whiffed her first attack in round 1, but she made amends in rounds 2 and 3, where she double attack, killed Lizard both times.
Okay.
So Lizard is gone, right? But everywhere else on the table, everything goes badly. Deadpool gets dazed by Rhino and gives up his extract, gets dropped on the floor. Toad, I think, gets dazed if he hasn't been already. Magik, I think, gets dazed. Basically, my whole team, aside from Apocalypse, in fact, gets dazed.
Holy moly.
And I have to play my ass off with the activations I have before I lose them, and in order to stay in the game. And through a series of plays in the last 2 activations of the round, including having Apocalypse, I think just move and flip points a bunch of times and not make attacks. No, I realize Apocalypse can't afford to do that. His only way to stay in the game is if he is able to one-shot Doc Ock to daze him, pick up the extract, and move to flip a point. Yeah. So he does that. Or maybe he 2-shots him and teleports. Either way. He kills Doc Ock, dazes Doc Ock, picks up his extract, and moves to flip a point. And doing exactly that. Had I failed to kill Doc Ock, I lose the game. Had I failed to flip the point, I lose the game. By doing both, I move the position so that I'm at 9 and Archie is on 15. So I have to kind of thread the needle and get lucky to be in this incredibly disadvantaged position going into the last round.
Right. So you are 7 points behind to his 1 point behind the win.
Yeah,
oh
9-15. He's 6 points ahead of me. He needs 1 point to win. There's 8 points on the table. No, 9 points on the table. He needs 1 to win and he's 6 ahead of me.
Oh, man.
And at this point, I am really excited because I thought I would lose that round and I've got another turn. And I'm like, okay, I've got another chance to try and solve the puzzle. I've still got a chance. And I get one of those like almost hysterical things where I'm like, well, I can see what I have to do.
Right.
It's just incredibly unlikely. I've solved this puzzle. I just accept that maybe I have a 2% chance of success.
Yeah.
I know what my 2% line is. I take my 2% line.
Just curious, when do you recognize that you've solved it and just need to execute it? Is it at the end of the round or at the very beginning of the round during your power phase? Like, when do you figure this out?
It's at the start of the round. And it's one of those ones where you need everything to go right, which kind of makes the puzzle more obvious. Because you're like, well, if this doesn't work, I lose. If this doesn't work, I lose. But if this works and 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 this works, then maybe I got a chance. Right? So in this particular game,
I want to be clear. You have the entire plan in your head at the beginning of that round.
Not entire plan, but it's more like, if as soon as one of these things fails, I lose the game. And I need to keep doing things to stop losing. Because basically, Archie needs 1 point to win. And I need 7, but there's 9 on the table. This is very important because if Archie runs into the corner with a model, he'll get a point. But if I can get all 8 of the remaining points, then we'll carry on. So he cannot just activate a model and run into the corner. Or if he does, he's giving me a different alternative to catch up.
Yeah.
So we're at this point where I'm like, because of that, this is possible. If there was 1 less point on the table, so if we were playing like a 4 extract, 4 secure, he could just run into the corner and win. But I can see that's not an option. And I think, okay, so what I have to do is make it to keep denying his activations so that knowing he can't run away necessarily effectively, if I keep denying his activations enough, then maybe I can stay in the game on points. And so basically, starting of the round, he has 3 of the 4 pay-to flips.
Who's got priority?
I have priority. He's got 3 of the 4 play-to flips and 4 of the 5 extracts. So he has got
Jesus
7
Christ.
of the points on the table, and he needs 1 to win. And starting, Magik, my MVP for the game, is like, okay, step 1, Doc Ock and Toad both have to die so that they cut, because Rhino's got an extract and he's in quite a safe position.
Yeah.
So I need to kill them both because either one of them could pick up an extract to run into the corner. I won't kill Rhino, he'll run into the corner, I'll lose the game. So I just have to kill both of them. Fine. Magik uses Fury, does a builder on Doc Ock, 6 damage with Pierce, kills him. Great. Spending my power from that to teleport range 3 to Toad, do the exact same attack, 5 damage with Pierce, kill Toad. So
I was
Doc
going to
Ock
ask, so you couldn't take down a easier to kill Toad because he was too far away?
too far away. I need to kill them both. I can't let one of them survive.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have done like the spender on Doc Ock to make sure it happened. If
No.
It
had to be. I didn't have the power to spender initially.
Yeah.
I had to do builder into teleport into builder.
Oh my god!
And so I one-shot both of them. Worth mentioning that with Pierce and rerolls from Apocalypse, which you can use on one of the 2 attacks, plus Fury, Magik is incredibly likely to spike. So it is more plausible than the normal game plan.
Okay, got it.
It's not like she's making a normal builder.
It's like, Fury.
Yeah, Magik has like a 25% chance to one-shot Doc Ock. It's not favorable, but it's not like, okay, I need a 5 dice and I've got a 1%er. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she one-shots Doc Ock, she teleports, she one-shots Toad, she picks up an extract, she flips a point. I cheer. Archie looks like, oh, hold on. Maybe I'm not guaranteed to win this game like I thought a second ago.
Suddenly he's going to start engaging. He has to go back in gear.
Yeah, it's like this incredible string of luck that Pat has just had, killing 2 models and flipping a point and picking up an extract. Maybe he's got a tiny glimmer of hope.
Yeah,
probably not.
Let's point out, you also had to win the pay to flip. That was not a guaranteed thing either.
I had to win the pay to flip. Yeah, but it's like, okay. So at this point, I KO'd Lizard the previous round. I've just KO'd Doc Ock and I've just dazed Toad. So Archie is starting his round. He's only got 2 models.
Oh,
right. This is like he's like, oh, hold on, things could go wrong here. The only thing the Electro can do of relevance is double move and pick up an extract that Deadpool had dropped the previous round for being dazed. So he does that. In hindsight, we agree that's a mistake. Because what happens next is Deadpool's like, oh, great, Electro holding an extract.
Yeah.
Well, I can't let him live because then Rhino runs into the corner and I lose the game. So I have to activate Deadpool and kill Electro.
Yeah.
Deadpool gets up, leg daze next to Electro, uses his spender with Dance Party, does 5 damage to Electro, gets his wild trigger to advance short and do 1 automatic damage to Electro, dazes Electro in a single attack.
Okay, yeah.
He picks up the extract the Electro is holding and then still has a move action to move on to the far right, Guardian's Point, and flip it. And so by other activation, I've killed a model, I picked up an extract and flipped a point.
God.
Suddenly, Archie only has Rhino on a point Rhino already controls with an extract. And Rhino's on 1 power. And he's like, oh, I need to score 2 points I can't just run to the corner because then I get 1 point, but then Pat will get all the other points on the table.
Yeah. Did he have any targets nearby to try to go?
So the only model in range 3 is Apocalypse. And Apocalypse is on full health. So he hits Apocalypse, does a negligible amount of damage, places, and he does a critical amount of damage. He gets exactly enough power, I think 2, to have 3 power. And he uses that to slide to chase after Deadpool.
Okay.
Hit Deadpool with a 7 dice builder, does 3 damage, or 4 or 5 damage, a lot of damage, and has enough power then to throw a size 4 terrain and KO Deadpool and to flip the point that Deadpool was standing on.
Okay. All right.
So there are, at this point, he's activated out. Rhino is holding an extract on a pay to flip, and there's another pay to flip that needs to be got.
Right.
But if Rhino is holding an extract at the end of the game and I have every other point, I win. So it is just a matter of doing a series of incredibly nerve-wracking pay to flip, where Apocalypse has to advance to the pay to flip Rhino started on and flip it, advance onto the pay to flip shared by Rhino and flip it out from under him. And then Toad and Beast are able to pick up the last extracts on the table. And that flurry of final moves, like bam, 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 gets it to exactly, I score 7 points, Archie scores 1, he goes from 15 to 16, I score 8 points. Yeah, Archie scores 1, he goes from 15 to 16, I go from 9 to 17.
Yeah.
All it took was to one-shot 3 characters with 3 attacks and to do every pay to flip. No problem.
So inevitably, this goes back to the sacrifices that you made to the dice gods earlier in the Sunday. Is there any tips? Like, what do they like? Is it chickens? is it pork? What's successful?
Yeah, there is definitely some weird dice. What's the word? Like superstition in my day 2. because in this game I just played, Magik did a disastrous first turn attack that set me really far behind, but then killed every target she wanted to for the rest of the game. And like in my first game against Jason, his Ghost Rider one-shot beast, I didn't mention this before, one-shot beast from behind cover on turn 1, doing 6 damage through cover, and then proceeded to do no damage for the rest of the game. So,
let
don't
it not
get
be
tilted
said
by that first attack.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it together, but also, I think every tournament winner will say luck plays a factor.
Oh, absolutely. In order to win a big tournament with lots of players, you have to both be very good at MCP and be lucky. Yeah. There will be lots of people that are good at MCP, and you need to have that when things don't go your way, you need to have luck bail you out from time to time.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's what happened in this game. Archie had every right to win. I think halfway through turn 3, where when I was unlikely to get to a 15-9 score, I probably, if you pick up the game at that point, like pick up the puzzle at that point, I probably have like a 1% chance to win.
Yeah.
And this was that 1% that worked out.
Luckily, he's not a salt lord like me, and I'm sure he handled it a hell of a lot better than I would have.
He was an incredibly good sport. He really congratulated me and said, wow, what a comeback, what a great game.
Yeah.
And when we were feeling it, right, it was an epic end.
Oh, for sure. That had to have been epic. I wish it was streamed. Man, that's amazing. Well, Patrick, any thoughts about the weekend that you want to end the podcast with?
Yeah, I mean, Mutant Weekend is excellent, right? You guys do such a good job. Credit to Norbert, Jamie, Lewis, Hannah, other people I'm forgetting, Norbert? Aaron.
Yeah. He's working in the background, but yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. Like, one of the things that's so cool about the Mutant Weekender is you guys really cater to everyone, and you do it in a really good way, where you have a really competitive, high-stakes event that attracts lots of good players, but you also have really fantastic painting competition that has inspired loads of people to up their game.
Oh my God,
the best MCP painting I've seen in any event.
Holy moly.
You have incredibly fun mini games. I was 1 point away from getting prizes for the Weapon M, by the way. The third place got 87 points, I got 86.
Bummer. Okay,
so
cool.
You have fun mini games, you have really cool spot prizes, you have like the goodie bags, you have tons of prizes in day 1 and day 2 that everyone gets things, you have custom tactics cards, you have big generous box prizes. Basically, you've got something for everyone. Yeah. And not only do you have something for everyone, but you've got more than anyone else has in their event for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it hits on all levels. So thank you so much. It's really fantastic.
Excellent. Lovely. I'm so glad to hear it. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you. This has gone a little bit long, but I think it was really worthwhile. I hope you learned a lot about how to consider your games, not just of what we learned specifically in each of these games. That was my goal for this. Secondly, thank you for being a Patreon. I've been drinking whiskey the entire time here, thanks to you.
Well, that's the Patreon bucks.
Thank you, Patreons, for helping me enjoy life a little bit better as we do this sort of thing. So I appreciate your support. And if you're listening to this after it comes out to the general public and you wish to sponsor us on Patreon, you can find us at Across the Bifrost. But if nothing else, join the Discord, Across the Bifrost Discord, where we have lots of chats about this, and we welcome you to learn about, to talk about the episodes, but also to have a chat and learn about the game or to discuss the parts of the game. So, but most of all, thank you, Patrick, for donating your time to this and being such a positive influence on the MCP community.
No, but it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. And until next time, cheers and happy gaming.
Yeah, well done. Although you never used to do that for the show. It was always TT.
It's always TT.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks very much and take care.